The situation in Ukraine is growing increasingly volatile. Just one day after Russian President Vladimir Putin escalated nuclear tensions, lowering the threshold for using nuclear weapons, several foreign embassies in Kiev, including those of the United States, Italy, Spain, and Greece, have temporarily closed due to fears of a potential significant airstrike. Now, US embassy staff have been put on high alert with orders to be ready to take shelter at a moment's notice. Now, the conflict has reached a dangerous new phase, with Ukrainian forces launching American-made ATACMS missiles in Russia's Bryansk region, adding fuel to the fire. President Joe Biden has authorized Ukrainian President Zelensky to use these missiles in attacks on Russian territory, including the Kursk region. My colleague Shreya reports, and she also spoke to American sociologist Salvatore Barbonis to better understand the move and its impact. Listen into both those reports.
Hours after the US embassy shut down temporarily in Kiev, embassies of Italy, Spain and Greece also shut down temporarily, also advising their citizens to take shelter if there is an air alert. Now, there are concerns that there might be an airstrike by Russia against Ukraine after the United States and the current President Joe Biden gave permission to use US long-range missiles against Russia. And in fact, Ukraine went ahead and used those missiles. In retaliation, now Russia is expected to be striking Ukraine by air. When that happens, where that happens, is something that we'll have to closely watch. But clearly, this has raised a lot of questions as far as Biden critics are concerned, saying, why did Joe Biden take this decision to permit Kyiv to use US-made missiles at this point in time, hinting perhaps at the fact that he is trying to make things difficult for the incoming US President Donald Trump. Donald Trump, remember, has promised to end the two wars, the Russia-Ukraine war as well as the Israel-Hamas war. Particularly in the Russia-Ukraine war, there are concerns as to how Donald Trump will handle it, how Vladimir Putin will respond to Donald Trump, and whether or not this will happen before 20th of January, when Donald Trump is expected to be inaugurated as the next American president. So observers and experts are closely watching and monitoring the situation. The latest as far as the battleground is concerned between Russia and Ukraine, specifically the Kursk region, which is a buffer zone between Russia and Ukraine, where reportedly North Korean soldiers are fighting on part of Russia. So this is a wait-and-watch game as far as this entire battlefield developments unfold now. What's your take on this entire Ukrainian policy based on the kind of government and regime change that the United States will see now?
American interests in Ukraine and Russia don't change with the change of administrations. What does change is the style or the tactics of how the United States will go about pursuing those interests. So Donald Trump has repeatedly emphasized that he does not want to see any more bloodshed in the Ukraine-Russia war. So he's going to be very interested to stop the conflict. Now, that doesn't mean Ukraine wins. That doesn't mean Russia wins. It means that he'll be pushing to stop the actual fighting. Now, it's a very different approach from the Biden administration. Not Joe Biden himself, but the Biden administration has repeatedly expressed a strategy in Ukraine to, quote unquote, bleed Russia dry. That is, the Biden administration's emphasis has been on keeping the war hot, keeping it continuing, because it saps Russian military manpower, but more importantly, saps Russia's economy, saps its ability to take on other potential conflicts around the world. The Trump administration will be looking to settle the conflict. Now, he has a lot of tools at his disposal to be able to do that. A lot of them involve economic pressure. The Biden administration has not been willing to pressure European countries to stop purchasing from Russia. The Trump administration will likely exert very strong pressure on European countries to pressure Russia to end the war. Of course, the United States also has enormous leverage over Ukraine. The United States can, at will, decide when Ukraine will no longer be able to fight this war. So I think Trump will exert maximum pressure on both sides in order to stop the conflict. He seems to want to do this before he takes office. He's repeatedly said that. And while I can't say whether or not he'll succeed, I can say that there's a good chance that he'll be able to get the fighting stopped before January 20th, so that he can then look to arrive at a negotiated settlement of something that works for the future.